Isaiah Caldwell, 62, black, strode through Liberty International Airport, Dallas, suit crisp, confidence quiet. A white TSA officer, Carl Rankin, sneered, demanding his boarding pass, mocking his tailored look. Isaiah's calm question about vague rules triggered Rankin's slap, a slur spitting out. Passengers gasped. Unfazed, Isaiah dialed. "Pentagon," he said. Minutes later, armed escorts stormed in, saluting. Rankin's smirk vanished under Isaiah's steely gaze. A fight loomed, threatening his future. What power did Isaiah wield to summon such force? Before starting, share where you're watching from. If you stand for justice, hit like and subscribe. Tomorrow's episode is unmissable, packed with twists you won't believe. Isaiah Caldwell stood in the humming chaos of Liberty International Airport, his tailored suit still crisp, despite the sting on his cheek. The slap from Carl Rankin, the white TSA officer, echoed in his mind, a raw pulse of humiliation. Around him, passengers whispered, their phones already flashing, capturing the scene. Rankin, red-faced and sweating, stammered as Colonel Maria Estes, a wiry woman with a buzz cut, led the armed escorts forward. Her 4 soldiers, clad in black tactical gear, moved with precision, their boots thudding on the polished floor. Maria's sharp brown eyes locked onto Isaiah, and she saluted, her voice steady. "General Caldwell, we're here on Pentagon orders. You're clear to proceed." Isaiah nodded, his jaw tight, the weight of 62 years of discipline holding his anger in check. The crowd parted as he followed Maria toward the gate, his boarding pass now a trivial afterthought. Rankin's badge glinted as 2 escorts cuffed him, his protests drowned by the terminal's buzz. "You can't do this. I was doing my job." Isaiah didn't look back. His pulse slowed, the sting fading into resolve. He'd faced worse than a bigot's hand in his decades of service, from Vietnam jungles to Pentagon boardrooms. This was just another skirmish, or so he thought. Maria leaned in as they reached the gate, her voice low. "Sir, we've detained Rankin. TSA's launching an inquiry, but you know how these things go." Isaiah's lips pressed thin. He did know. Systems protected their own, especially when a black man was the target. "Thanks, Colonel," he said, his baritone steady. "Keep me posted." She nodded, her gaze flickering with respect, and turned back to her team. Isaiah boarded his flight to D.C., the first-class cabin quiet, the air cool against his skin. He sank into the leather seat, exhaling, the hum of jet engines a rare moment of calm. For now he'd won. Rankin was in cuffs, the Pentagon had his back, and the incident was contained. He closed his eyes, picturing his daughter Lena in Atlanta, her laugh, her son Malik's gap-toothed grin. He'd call them later, maybe joke, about the airport mess. The plane lifted off, slicing through Texas clouds, and Isaiah allowed himself a sliver of pride. He'd stayed composed, turned the tables, and walked away upright. The world, it seemed, agreed. By the time the plane touched down at Reagan National Airport, his phone was buzzing, notifications piling up like leaves in a storm. A video of the slap had gone viral, posted by a passenger with a shaky camera. The clip cut from Rankin's sneer to the escort's arrival, Isaiah's calm dial to the Pentagon stealing the show. Hashtags trended. Justice for Isaiah, TSA bigotry. News blogs called him a hero, a black general standing tall against racism. Strangers tweeted support, their avatars a blur of flags and fists. One post, with 10,000 likes, read, "This man's a legend. TSA's done." Isaiah scrolled, his chest warming. Maybe this time the system would bend. Maybe Rankin's badge would stay revoked. He stepped off the plane, the D.C. air crisp at 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and headed to his hotel, a sleek tower 5 miles from the Pentagon. His meeting, tomorrow with old allies, generals, policy wonks, felt lighter now. A chance to strategize defense contracts, not just defend himself. He dropped his suitcase in the room, the city skyline glinting through the window, and powered on his laptop. The video was everywhere. CNN, MSNBC, even Fox, though they spun it as TSA under pressure. Isaiah leaned back, the chair creaking under his 6-foot frame. He was 62, retired, but still a force. This, he thought, was vindication. Then the tone shifted. A new notification pinged, a news alert from a right-wing outlet. Retired General Isaiah Caldwell. Security risk? His stomach tightened. He clicked, the page loading with a grainy photo of him at the airport, his suit making him look defiant, not distinguished. The article claimed sources had flagged his travel history, frequent trips to high-risk countries during his service. It hinted at unvetted clearance, a black man with too much power. Isaiah's jaw clenched, his fingers hovering over the keyboard. This wasn't random. Someone was digging. His phone buzzed again, a text from Maria. "Sir, check TSAs. Internal feed. Leak just dropped." Isaiah opened a secure link she'd sent, his heart thudding. There, on a TSA intranet forum, were his travel records. Dates, destinations, even hotel stays from his active duty years. Classified data, now public. A user, anonymous but verified, posted, "Caldwell's a threat. Pentagon ties don't mean clean hands." Comments piled up, slurs peppering the thread. Thug, uppity traitor. Isaiah's breath caught, the room suddenly too warm. He dialed Maria, his voice low. "Who leaked this?" Her reply was grim. "We're tracing it, but it's high level." "Looks like TSA brass." Isaiah hung up, his mind racing. This wasn't Rankin's doing. A bigger player was moving, someone with access and motive. He Googled the leak's spread. It was everywhere. Reddit, X, even mainstream sites quoting the security risk angle. His inbox flooded with hate mail, each message uglier than the last. "Go back to Africa," one read. "You'll pay for humiliating Rankin," said another, signed with a swastika emoji. Isaiah's fingers trembled, not from fear but rage. He'd served 30 years, bled for this country, and now his name was trash. He stood, pacing the room, the carpet muffling his steps. The skyline outside mocked him, its lights too bright. He checked his phone again, hoping for allies. A few texts from Pentagon friends promised support, but most were silent, wary of the smear's heat. Then a voicemail from Lena, her voice shaky. "Dad, people are calling the hospital, saying I'm your accomplice. What's happening?" Isaiah's heart sank. His daughter, a nurse, 34, with no stake in this fight, was now a target. Malik, his grandson, only 8, was probably scared too. He called Lena back, his tone calm despite the storm inside. "Stay with friends tonight," he said. "I'm handling this." She hesitated, then agreed, her trust in him a lifeline. Isaiah sat, the hotel chair cold against his back. He opened his laptop again, the hate mail piling up, now hundreds strong. One message stood out, unsigned but precise. "You think escorts save you? Watch your back, General." Isaiah's eyes narrowed. This was personal, orchestrated. He searched. The news again, landing on a profile. Victor Hensley, TSA Director, 55, wiry, with a pinched face and pale eyes. A quote from him on the Rankin incident was cagey. "We're reviewing all angles." Hensley's name clicked. Isaiah had met him once, a decade ago, at a security conference. The man's handshake was limp, his smile tight, his questions about Isaiah's loyalty laced with venom. Now Hensley was watching, pulling strings. Isaiah closed the laptop, his pulse a drumbeat. The viral video, the escorts, the cheers, it was all a false dawn. Rankin's slap was just the first shot. Hensley's leak had turned Isaiah into a pariah, his legacy a punching bag. He stood, straightening his suit, the fabric smooth under his fingers. He'd faced ambushes before, in war and in boardrooms. This was no different. But as he stared at the city lights, a chill settled in his bones. The hate mail, the threats, Lena's fear, they were just the start. Hensley wasn't done. Isaiah's phone buzzed again. A new email. "Your kind doesn't belong in power." He deleted it, but the words lingered, sharp as a blade. The fight was coming, bigger than he'd imagined, and it would test every ounce of his strength. He sat staring at the skyline, the DC night swallowing his reflection. The world had called him a hero hours ago. Now it wanted his blood. Isaiah Caldwell stepped off the plane at Reagan National Airport, the DC air sharp at 60 degrees Fahrenheit, his tailored suit a shield against the chaos brewing online. The viral video of his airport slap had morphed into a smear campaign. Victor Hensley's leaked travel records painting him as a security threat. His phone buzzed with notifications, each one a needle: traitor, thug, fraud. He silenced it, striding through the terminal, his 6-foot frame drawing stares. Some passengers whispered, recognizing him from the news. Others glared, their eyes cold with suspicion. Isaiah kept his chin high, his baritone steady, as he called his daughter Lena. "You safe?" he asked. Her voice trembled. "Yeah, Dad. Staying with friends. Malik's okay, but he's asking about you." Isaiah's chest tightened, picturing his 8-year-old grandson's wide eyes. "Tell him Grandpa's handling it," he said, forcing calm. He hung up, the weight of her fear settling like damp fog. 5 miles away, his hotel room waited, a temporary bunker before tomorrow's Pentagon meeting with old allies, generals who'd once saluted him, now silent amid the smear. He hailed a cab, the driver glancing at him through the rearview mirror, hesitant. "You that guy from the airport?" the driver asked, voice low. Isaiah nodded, his jaw tight. "Just drive." The city blurred past, its monuments glowing under a moonless sky, mocking his unraveling legacy. At the hotel, a sleek tower with glass walls, Isaiah powered on his laptop, the screen's glow harsh against his tired eyes. The smear had exploded. Tabloids screamed, "General's threat to TSA." One headline from a site called Patriot Pulse twisted Hensley's leak into a conspiracy. Caldwell's Pentagon ties raise red flags. Why is a black ex-general traveling so freely? A cable news host, her blonde bob rigid, ranted on a loop. He's ungrateful for his rank, abusing power to dodge TSA rules. Isaiah's fingers curled, nails biting his palms. 30 years of service, Vietnam, Desert Storm, countless classified ops, and now this. He scrolled X, where the hashtags had turned, "Fire Caldwell, no traitors." A meme showed his face photoshopped behind bars, likes piling up by the 1,000. His inbox overflowed with hate, slurs stacking like bricks, monkey sellout danger. One email, unsigned, read, "You'll regret that Pentagon call." Isaiah's pulse quickened, his breath shallow. Hensley wasn't just leaking, he was orchestrating a lynching by keyboard. Isaiah stood pacing the room, the carpet soft under his polished shoes. He needed to fight back, not just for himself, but for Lena, Malik, and every black face dragged through this mud. His Pentagon meeting was tomorrow, a chance to rally allies, but he couldn't wait. The smear was spreading like wildfire, and silence was surrender. He called Colonel Maria Estes, his escort from Dallas, her number a lifeline. "Maria," he said, his voice low, "I need air cover. The media's eating me alive." Her reply was crisp. "Already on it, sir. We're tracing the leak's source. Looks like TSA's top brass, probably Hensley himself. But, sir, you need to go public. Clear your name." Isaiah nodded, though she couldn't see. He'd faced ambushes before, but this one cut deeper, weaponizing his own service against him. "Thanks, Colonel," he said, hanging up. He Googled press options, landing on a local DC station with a decent reputation. Their producer, intrigued by the viral slap, agreed to a live press conference that afternoon, 3 hours from now. Isaiah shaved, the razor's scrape grounding him, and straightened his tie, the silk cool against his fingers. He'd speak truth, dismantle the lies, and take back his name. The conference room, a cramped studio with hot lights, buzzed with reporters, their cameras glinting like vultures' eyes. Isaiah stood at the podium, his suit impeccable, his baritone steady as granite. "I'm Isaiah Caldwell, retired 3-star, general, 30 years of service. The TSA leak is a lie. My travel records, classified, were stolen to smear me." He held up printed logs, his hands steady, showing routine Pentagon trips, not high-risk jaunts. The slap at Liberty Airport was racial profiling, pure and simple. I won't let it stand. Questions flew, some sharp, others sympathetic. A black reporter, her braids tight, asked, "How's this affecting your family?" Isaiah's throat tightened, Malik's face flashing in his mind. "It's hard," he said, "but we're strong." The room hummed, cameras rolling, and by evening clips of his speech trended online. Supporters rallied, New hashtags blooming. Stand with Isaiah. Truth for Caldwell. A tweet with 20,000 likes read, Generals fighting back. TSA's corrupt. Isaiah, back at his hotel, watched the shift, his chest loosening. The truth was gaining ground. He texted Lena. We're turning the tide. She replied with a heart emoji, a small victory. He slept that night, the first time in days, dreaming of Malik's laugh, not Hensley's sneer. But Hensley wasn't idle. The TSA director, holed up in his Dallas office, his wiry frame hunched over a burner phone, watched Isaiah's press conference with a scowl. His pale eyes glinted, his fingers tapping the desk like a predator's claws. Caldwell thinks he's clever, he muttered to a shadowed aide. Let's raise the stakes. Hensley had power, access to TSA systems, contacts in law enforcement, and a knack for dirty tricks. He'd lost the first round with Rankin's detention, but the leak was just a jab. Now he'd throw a haymaker. By midnight, Hensley's plan was live. A fake bomb threat, crafted with chilling precision, hit the FBI's tip line, tied to Isaiah's luggage from his Dallas flight. The caller, a hired voice, claimed Caldwell planted explosives in a suitcase, now traced to his D.C. hotel. The IP was spoofed, untraceable, but the details, flight number, bag tag, matched Isaiah's trip perfectly. Hensley smirked, imagining Caldwell's fall. The FBI, spooked by the terrorist label already circling Isaiah, didn't hesitate. At 2 in the morning, Isaiah woke to pounding on his hotel door, the wood shaking. He stumbled out of bed, heart racing, the room pitch black except for the city's glow. Open the door, Caldwell, a voice barked. FBI. SWAT. Isaiah's stomach dropped, his military instincts kicking in. He raised his hands, palms open, and opened the door slowly, the lock clicking like a gunshot. 6 agents in tactical vests stormed in, rifles raised, red laser dots dancing on his chest. Freeze! One shouted, his voice muffled by a helmet. Isaiah stood still, his pulse hammering, the air thick with gun oil and sweat. What's this about, he asked, his voice calm despite the fear clawing his gut. Bomb threat, the lead agent snapped, a white man with a buzz cut. Your luggage, you're coming with us. Isaiah's mind raced, the smear's shadow lengthening. This wasn't random, Hensley's fingerprints were all over it. My luggage was cleared, he said, hands still raised. Check the records. The agent sneered, cuffing him, the metal cold against his wrists. Tell it to the judge, General. They marched him through the lobby, guests gawking, phones flashing. Outside, squad cars blinked, their sirens silent but ominous. Isaiah's suit, now rumpled, felt like armor, as he ducked into a van, the door slamming. The hotel shrank behind him, the city a blur of lights and betrayal. At the FBI field office, a grey box 3 miles away, Isaiah sat in a stark room, the table scratched, the air stale. An agent, younger, less hostile, uncuffed him, but kept a hand on his holster. We've got a tip, Caldwell. Bomb in your bag, set to blow at Liberty Airport. Explain that. Isaiah's eyes narrowed, his voice low. It's a setup. I'm a retired general, not a terrorist. Check my service record. The agent shrugged, unconvinced, and left him alone, the door locking with a thud. Isaiah leaned back, the chair creaking, his mind churning. The press conference had stung Hensley, and this was his counter-strike, a fabricated threat to bury him. His phone, confiscated, couldn't reach Maria or Lena. He was cut off, the smear now a noose. Hours crawled, the room's fluorescent buzz his only company. He thought of Malik, scared in Atlanta, and Lena, dodging hospital threats. His fight wasn't just for him anymore. It was for them, for every black face targeted by men like Hensley. He closed his eyes, steadying his breath, the old soldier in him waking. Hensley wanted war, he'd get one. But as the door opened, an agent tossing him a jumpsuit for processing, Isaiah's gut twisted. The bomb threat wasn't just it was a death sentence, designed to strip his freedom, his name, his life. Hensley's game was bigger, uglier, and far from over. Isaiah Caldwell sat in the FBI field office, the interrogation room's fluorescent lights buzzing like a swarm of wasps. His wrists, still raw from the cuffs, rested on the scratched metal table, his tailored suit now creased from the SWAT raid. that had yanked him from his DC hotel at 2 in the morning. The air smelled of stale coffee and gun oil, the walls grey and peeling. At 62, Isaiah had faced worse, enemy fire in Vietnam, backstabbing in Pentagon halls, but this felt dirtier. A racist trap sprung by Victor Hensley, the TSA director. The fake bomb threat tied to his luggage was no accident. It was Hensley's revenge for Isaiah's press conference, which had turned the viral airport slap into a rallying cry against TSA bigotry. The lead agent, a white man with a buzz cut and tired eyes, paced outside the glass door muttering into a radio. Isaiah's phone, confiscated, left him cut off from Colonel Maria Estes and his daughter Lena in Atlanta. His grandson Malik, 8 years old, was probably awake, scared, asking why Grandpa was in trouble. Isaiah's chest tightened, his baritone silent but his mind racing. He'd cleared his name once that day and he'd do it again. The door swung open and the agent tossed a file on the table, its pages curling. "Bomb threats got your name all over it, Caldwell," he said, voice flat. "Flight records match. Talk." Isaiah leaned forward, his gaze steady. "It's a setup. I'm a retired 3-star general. My luggage was screened at Liberty Airport. You've got nothing." The agent snorted, but doubt flickered in his eyes. He left, the door locking with a thud. Isaiah sat back, the chair cold, his pulse a steady drum. Hensley's smear, leaked travel records calling him a security threat, had primed. This trap, painting a black general as a terrorist. The media's venom, the hate mail piling up, all bore Hensley's fingerprints. Isaiah closed his eyes, picturing Lena's smile, Malik's gap-toothed grin. He'd fight for them, not just himself. Hours later, the door opened again, and a new face appeared. Evelyn Marks, a black lawyer in her 40s, her navy blazer sharp, her braids pulled tight. Her reputation preceded her, cutthroat in court, a bulldog for justice. Isaiah's Pentagon contacts had pulled strings, and Evelyn was their ace. She sat, her eyes scanning him like a battlefield. "General Caldwell," she said, voice low, "we're getting you out. The bomb threat's a fraud. I've got text tracing the IP now." Isaiah nodded, relief creeping in. "How bad is it out there?" he asked. Evelyn's lips thinned. "Bad. Media's eating you alive. But we'll flip this." She opened her laptop, showing a digital trail. The anonymous tip's IP bounced through proxies, but sloppy, tied to a TSA server. "Hensley's team," she said. "They underestimated us." Isaiah's jaw tightened, his fingers curling. "Let's bury them." Evelyn's plan was surgical. She'd present the IP evidence in an emergency hearing, demand the charges drop, and expose the setup. Isaiah spent the night in a holding cell, the cot hard, the air damp at 55 degrees Fahrenheit. He didn't sleep, his mind replaying. The slap, the escorts, the raid. Hensley wasn't just a bigot, he was a predator, wielding power like a blade. By dawn, Isaiah was in a DC courthouse, a squat brick building 3 miles from the capital. The courtroom hummed, reporters cramming the benches, their pens scratching. Isaiah stood beside Evelyn, his suit pressed, his posture ramrod straight. The judge, a white woman with grey curls, peered over her glasses, her face unreadable. The prosecution, a nervous man in a cheap suit, claimed the bomb threat was airtight, tied to Isaiah's suspicious travel. Evelyn stood, her voice a blade. "Your Honor, this is a farce. The tip's IP traces to a TSA server, accessed by Director Victor Hensley's office." She clicked a projector, showing the digital trail. Timestamps, server logs, proxy fails. The prosecution stammered, papers slipping from his hands. Reporters gasped, phones buzzing with live tweets. Isaiah watched, his heart pounding, as the judge's gavel fell. "Charges dismissed," she said, voice sharp. "This court won't tolerate fabricated evidence. Mr. Caldwell, you're free." The room erupted, cheers drowning the prosecution's objections. Isaiah exhaled, his shoulders loosening as Evelyn gripped his arm. "We did it," she whispered. Outside, a crowd mobbed him, supporters waving signs, "Justice for Isaiah," TSA's. Cameras flashed, a black teenager shouting, "You're a king, General." Isaiah smiled, the first time in days, his baritone warm as he thanked them. News vans lined the street, anchors calling it a win against TSA overreach. Online, the narrative. Flipped, Caldwell vindicated, Hensley under fire. Isaiah's phone returned, buzzed with texts from Maria. We're digging deeper. Hensley's cornered. Lena called, her voice bright. Dad, you're trending again, the good way. Isaiah laughed, the sound foreign. He boarded a cab to his hotel, the DC skyline gleaming, the air crisp at 68 degrees. For a moment, he felt unstoppable. His name restored, his fight righteous. He'd faced Hensley's bomb threat and won, the system bending under truth. Back in his room, he poured a glass of water, the glass cool, and turned on the TV. Pundits praised him, a black general who'd beaten the odds. Isaiah sat, the chair soft, and texted Malik, Grandpa's okay, kid. Love you. The reply, a smiley face, warmed his chest. He leaned back, the city's hum a lullaby, and dared to hope the worst was over. But Hensley in his Dallas office wasn't done. His wiry frame shook with rage, his pale eyes fixed on a TV showing Isaiah's courthouse triumph. His fingers gripped a burner phone, knuckles white. They think they've won, he hissed to an aide, a shadowed figure in a cheap suit. Time to hit where it hurts. Hensley's next move was vile, personal. He paid a hacker, a ghost in the dark web, to dox Isaiah's family. Lena, 34, a nurse in Atlanta, and Malik, her son, were the targets. The hacker dug deep, Lena's hospital address, Malik's school schedule, their home's floor plan. By midnight, the data hit the internet, posted on hate forums with a note, Caldwell's terrorist kin. Get them. Isaiah woke to his phone buzzing, the screen a blur of alerts. A text from Lena, frantic. Dad, the hospital's getting bomb threats. They're saying I'm with you. Malik's school's locked down. Isaiah's heart stopped, his breath catching. He called her, his voice steady despite the panic clawing his gut. Where are you? He asked. Lena's voice shook. At a friend's. Police are here, but they're not helping. They think it's my fault. Isaiah's fists clenched, the phone creaking. Stay there, I'm coming. He hung up, the room spinning, the city's lights now a taunt. The courthouse cheers, the dropped charges, the crowd's love. It was all ash. Hensley hadn't just attacked him. He'd gone for his blood, his legacy. Isaiah opened his laptop, the doxing posts staring back, slurs framing Lena as an accomplice, Malik as collateral. One post with 5,000 shares showed their Atlanta address, a map circling their home. Another threatened fire, knives, worse. Isaiah's pulse roared, his military calm fraying. He'd faced death, but this was different. His daughter, his grandson, hunted for his fight. He called Evelyn, his voice low. Hensley doxed my family. We need to hit back. She didn't hesitate. I'm on it. We'll trace the hacker. Sue for damages. Stay with Lena. Isaiah booked a flight to Atlanta, the next one out, 2 hours away. He packed, his hands trembling, the suit he'd worn in court now a reminder of a hollow win. The TV droned, a pundit saying, Caldwell's victory exposes TSA rot. Isaiah muted it, his eyes burning. Victory. This was war, and Hensley had drawn first blood. At Reagan National, the terminal was quiet, the air cool at 62 degrees. Isaiah boarded, his ticket scanned. No TSA sneers this time. But as the plane climbed, the DC lights fading, dread settled in his bones. Lena's voice, Malik's fear, the doxing's venom. They were Hensley's real weapon, sharper than any bomb threat. Isaiah stared out the window, the clouds black. His reflection a ghost. He'd cleared his name, but at what cost? Hensley's game was escalating, and Atlanta was the next battlefield. Isaiah Caldwell's flight to Atlanta sliced through the night, the plane's hum a faint comfort against the dread coiling in his gut. The doxing attack, orchestrated by TSA Director Victor Hensley, had exposed his daughter Lena and grandson, Malik, to a flood of racist threats, bomb scares at her hospital, a lockdown at Malik's school. Isaiah's tailored suit, creased from the DC courthouse victory, felt like a relic of a fleeting win. At 62, he'd faced ambushes in war, but this was personal, a blade aimed at his blood. His phone clutched in his hand, buzzed with a text from Lena. Safe at Janine's. Cops outside, but they're useless. Isaiah's jaw tightened, his baritone silent as he typed back, I'm landing soon. Stay put. The Atlanta skyline loomed, its lights sharp at 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and Isaiah's heart thudded with every mile closer to his family. He landed at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, the terminal buzzing with late-night travelers, their eyes sliding past him. No TSA sneers this time, but the memory of Carl Rankin's slap in Dallas burned fresh, the spark that had ignited Hensley's vendetta. Isaiah hailed a cab, the driver a black man with grey dreads, his radio playing soft jazz. Rough day? The driver asked, glancing at Isaiah's tense frame. You could say that, Isaiah replied, his voice low. The cab wove through Atlanta's streets, past neon-lit diners and looming high-rises, to a quiet suburb 10 miles out. Janine's house, a brick two-story with a tidy lawn, glowed faintly, police lights flickering outside. Isaiah paid the driver, his fingers brushing the worn leather of his wallet, and stepped out, the air thick with summer humidity. Lena opened the door before he knocked. Her nurse's scrubs wrinkled, her eyes red. Dad, she whispered, hugging him, her grip fierce. Malik's asleep upstairs. Isaiah held her, his 6-foot frame steadying her tremble. We'll fix this, he said, his voice a rock. Inside, Janine, Lena's friend, brewed coffee, her kitchen warm with the scent of roasted beans. 2 cops, both white, lounged in the living room, their radios crackling. Isaiah sized them up, their slouched postures, screaming indifference. Any leads on the threats, he asked, his tone sharp. The older cop, his badge reading Carter, shrugged. Just trolls, probably. We're monitoring. Isaiah's eyes narrowed, his military instincts flaring. Trolls don't dox a nurse and an 8-year-old, he said. Do your job. Carter bristled, but Janine cut in, her voice calm. They've been here an hour, Isaiah. No progress. Isaiah nodded, his mind already shifting. He needed more than local cops. He texted Colonel Maria Estes, his Pentagon ally. Families targeted. Need private security fast. Maria replied instantly, on it. Teams en route from DC ETA 6 hours. Isaiah exhaled, the knot in his chest loosening slightly. He'd protect Lena and Malik, no matter the cost. The next morning, Isaiah met with the hospital board, a panel of 5 suits in a sterile conference room 2 miles from Janine's. Lena's workplace, a sprawling medical center, had been paralyzed by bomb, threats blaming her terrorist father. Isaiah, his suit pressed, stood tall, his baritone cutting through their murmurs. My daughter's a nurse, not a criminal, he said. Those threats traced to a TSA leak. Fire the caller or I'll sue. The board's chair, a white woman with a tight bun, fidgeted, her eyes avoiding his. We've identified the culprit, she said. A temp, linked to an outside group. He's gone. We're sorry, Ms. Caldwell can return. Isaiah nodded, his jaw tight. It wasn't enough, but it was a start. He called Lena, who was with Malik at Janine's, the boy now playing with toy cars, his laughter a fragile shield. You're clear to go back, he told her. Hospital's stepping up security. Lena's voice lifted. Thanks, Dad, we're okay. Isaiah hung up, the morning sun hot through the hospital's glass doors. He drove to Malik's school, a red brick building 3 miles away where the principal, a black woman with kind eyes, assured him the lockdown was lifted. Extra guards, she said, shaking his hand. Malik's safe. Isaiah exhaled, his shoulders easing. He pictured Malik's grin, Lena's steady hands at work. The threats were contained, the caller fired, the police, useless as they were, still outside Janine's. He'd bought his family breathing room. Back at Janine's, he hugged. Malik, the boy's small arms tight. Grandpa, are the bad guys gone? Malik asked, his voice small. Isaiah forced a smile, his heart twisting. They're on the run, kid. He tucked Malik in, the bedroom's blue walls soft in the lamplight, and sat with Lena, her coffee mug steaming. We're through the worst, he said, believing it for a moment. She nodded, her eyes heavy but hopeful. Isaiah slept on Janine's couch, the cushions lumpy, the air cool at 68 degrees. For the first time in days, he dreamed of open fields, not courtrooms or raids. But in Dallas, Victor Hensley seethed, his wiry frame pacing his office, the TV replaying Isaiah's courthouse win. His pale eyes glinted, his fingers tapping a burner phone. "Caldwell's family's safe," he muttered to his aide, a gaunt man, with nervous hands, not for long. Hensley's next move was a gut punch calculated to break Isaiah's spirit. He bribed a dirty cop, Officer Dwayne Holt, a beefy white man with a rap sheet of brutality, to plant drugs in Lena's car. Holt, $5,000 richer, slipped a bag of cocaine into Lena's Honda, parked outside Janine's while Isaiah slept. The setup was simple: a routine traffic stop, a search, and Lena's life ruined. Holt called it in, his radio, crackling with fake urgency. Suspicious vehicle, possible narcotics, Caldwell's daughter. Hensley smirked, imagining Isaiah's face when his daughter was cuffed. The next afternoon, Lena drove Malik to the park, a green sprawl 4 miles from Janine's, her first outing since the doxing. Isaiah stayed behind, meeting Maria's security team, 4 ex-Marines in black vests, their van parked outside. He briefed them, his voice low. "Threats are down, but Hensley's still out there. Stay sharp." They nodded, their eyes scanning the street. Lena's Honda rolled through Atlanta's suburbs, Malik humming in the back seat, his toy car clutched. Tight. A police cruiser flashed its lights behind her, the siren sharp. Lena frowned, pulling over, her hand steady on the wheel. Officer Holt approached, his badge glinting, his smirk wide. "Step out, ma'am," he said, voice oily. "Routine check." Lena complied, her nurse's scrubs bright in the sun, Malik watching wide-eyed. "What's this about?" she asked, her tone calm. Holt ignored her, searching the car, his gloved hands slow. Then he held up the cocaine bag, its white powder stark. "Well, well," he said, grinning, "you're under arrest." Lena's breath caught, her eyes darting to Malik, who screamed, "Mommy!" Holt cuffed her, the metal biting her wrists, as Malik's cries echoed. A second cop, younger, stood back, uneasy but silent. Lena's voice shook. "That's not mine, I'm a nurse." Holt laughed, shoving her toward the cruiser. "Tell it to the judge, Caldwell." News vans, tipped off by Hensley's aide, swarmed the scene, cameras rolling as Lena was pushed into the car, her face pale, Malik sobbing in the back seat. The headline was instant. "General's daughter busted for drugs." X exploded, slurs flooding. Lena's name, dealer, junkie, trash. Isaiah's phone buzzed as he finished with the security team, a text from Janine. "Lena's arrested. Turn on the news." He froze, the kitchen's warmth turning cold. The TV showed Lena's mugshot, her eyes wide, the anchor's voice smug. Another twist in the Caldwell saga. Isaiah's knees buckled, his pulse roaring. He called Evelyn Marks, his lawyer, his voice a growl. They framed Lena. "Drugs. Find out who." Evelyn's reply was sharp. "I'm on it. Get to Atlanta PD." Isaiah grabbed his jacket, the fabric rough, and ran to the car, the security team trailing. The drive to the precinct 6 miles away was a blur, the city's lights mocking him. At Atlanta PD, a squat concrete building, Isaiah stormed in, his suit rumpled, his baritone thunder. "Where's my daughter?" The desk sergeant, a white woman with bored eyes, pointed to booking. "She's being processed." Isaiah's fists clenched, his military calm shattering. "This is a setup," he said. "Check her record. She's clean." The sergeant shrugged, unmoved. Isaiah pushed past, finding Lena in a holding cell, her scrub stained, her face drawn. "Dad," she whispered, tears streaking. "It's not mine." "I know," he said, his hand gripping the bars, cold steel biting his skin. "Malik's with Janine. Safe." But his screams lingered in Isaiah's mind. News crews camped outside, their flashes blinding, the drug bust a spectacle. Isaiah's victory, the bomb threat cleared, the hospital threat stopped, was ash. Hensley had struck deeper, framing Lena to break him. The precinct's air was stale, 65 degrees, but Isaiah burned, rage and fear colliding. He'd protected his family, only to see them cuffed, humiliated for his fight. Hensley's war was unrelenting, and Lena's arrest was just the start. Isaiah Caldwell stood in the Atlanta PD precinct, the air thick with disinfectant and despair, his tailored suit rumpled from a sleepless night. His daughter, Lena, sat in a holding cell, her nurse's scrubs stained, her wrists bruised from cuffs after a dirty cop, bribed by TSA Director Victor Hensley, planted cocaine in her car. Malik, her 8-year-old son, was safe with Janine, but his screams from the traffic stop haunted Isaiah, a raw wound. At 62, Isaiah's military steel held firm, but rage simmered beneath. His baritone a low growl as he faced the desk sergeant. "I want my daughter out," he said, his 6-foot frame looming. "She's framed." The sergeant, a white woman with a lazy stare, typed slowly, unmoved. "Court's in an hour," she said. "Talk to her lawyer." Isaiah's fists clenched, the precinct's fluorescent lights buzzing like flies. He'd protected Lena from Hensley's doxing, only to see her cuffed in front of news cameras, branded a drug dealer. The headlines, "General's daughter busted," had exploded, slurs flooding ex, junkie, thug, scum. This wasn't just an attack on Lena. It was Hensley's knife in Isaiah's heart, punishment for his courthouse win against the fake bomb threat. He called Evelyn Marks, his lawyer, her number a lifeline. "Lena's hearing soon," he said, voice tight. "We need to nail the cop." Evelyn's reply was sharp. "Already working it, General. I've got a lead on the bribe. Meet me at the courthouse." Isaiah hung up, his pulse a drumbeat, and drove 6 miles to the Fulton County Courthouse, a gray slab under Atlanta's humid sky, 72 degrees Fahrenheit. The private security team, 4 ex-Marines sent by Colonel Maria Estes, trailed in a black van, their eyes scanning for threats. Isaiah's phone buzzed with a text from Maria. "Digging into Hensley's finances. Stay sharp." He nodded, the message a spark of hope. If they could trace the bribe, Lena was free. The courtroom was packed, reporters cramming the benches, their cameras glinting. Isaiah sat beside Evelyn, her navy blazer crisp, her braids tight. Lena entered, cuffed, her eyes meeting Isaiah's, a flicker of strength in her fear. The judge, a black man with a bald head, called order, his gavel sharp. The prosecution, a white man with a nervous tic, claimed Lena's car held 2 ounces of cocaine. A slam-dunk case. Evelyn stood, her voice a blade. "Your Honor, this is a setup. The arresting officer, Dwayne Holt, received a $5,000 wire from a shell company tied to TSA Director Victor Hensley. She clicked a projector, showing bank records, timestamps, account numbers, a digital trail to Hensley's front door. The courtroom gasped, reporters typing furiously. Isaiah's heart pounded, his hands gripping the bench, its wood slick with sweat. The prosecution stammered, papers scattering. Holt, in the witness stand, went pale, his beefy frame shrinking. Evelyn pressed, her questions surgical. "Officer Holt, who paid you to plant that bag?" Holt's eyes darted, his voice a mumble. "No one." "I found it." Evelyn smirked, holding up a printout. "Then explain this deposit. Dated yesterday." The judge leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. The room held its breath. Isaiah watched Lena, her shoulders straightening, hope creeping into her face. The gavel fell. "Charges dismissed," the judge said, voice booming. "Miss Caldwell, you're free. This court won't tolerate corruption." Lena sobbed, her cuffs clicking open, and ran to Isaiah, her arms tight around him. "Dad," she whispered, tears soaking his suit. Isaiah held her, his chest bursting, Malik's face flashing in his mind. The courtroom erupted, cheers drowning the prosecution's protests. Outside, protesters chanted Isaiah's name, signs waving, "Free Lena, end Sully's." Cameras flashed, a black reporter shouting, "General, you've done it again." Isaiah's baritone was steady, his smile warm. "Justice isn't easy, but it's worth it." Lena gripped his hand, her nurse's strength back, her eyes bright. News vans lined the street, anchors calling it a blow to TSA corruption. Online, the narrative flipped. Lena vindicated, Hensley exposed. Isaiah's phone buzzed with texts from Maria. "Got more on Hensley's shell company." "We're closing in." Lena hugged him again, her voice soft. "Can we see Malek now?" Isaiah nodded, his heart lighter. They drove to Janine's, 10 miles away, the Atlanta sun hot, the air thick at 75 degrees. Malek ran out, his gap-toothed grin wide, leaping into Lena's arms. "Mommy," he squealed, his toy car clutched tight. Isaiah knelt, ruffling his hair, the boy's warmth a balm. "We're okay, kid," he said, his voice thick. Back at Janine's, the kitchen glowed, coffee brewing, the ex-Marines stationed outside. Isaiah sat with Lena, her mug steaming, Malik coloring nearby. "We beat them," he said, his shoulders easing. Lena nodded, her smile fragile but real. "For now," she said. Isaiah leaned back, the couch creaky, the victory sweet. The bomb threat, the doxing, the drug bust. Hensley's blows had failed. Isaiah felt unstoppable, his family safe, his name a beacon. He texted Maria, "Keep digging, we're not done." The reply was quick, "Roger that." Hensley's sweating. Isaiah smiled, the first time in days, and sipped his coffee, its bitterness sharp. But in Dallas, Victor Hensley wasn't sweating. His wiry frame stood rigid in his office, his pale eyes fixed on a TV showing Lena's release, the crowd's cheers a mockery. His fingers crushed a pen, ink staining his hand. "Caldwell's untouchable," he snarled to his aide, a gaunt man with shifty eyes. Not anymore. Hensley's next strike was a masterstroke, designed to gut Isaiah's legacy. He leaked doctored Pentagon files buried in a classified server, claiming Isaiah sold military secrets to a foreign power during Desert Storm. The files, forged, emails, fake wire transfers, painted him as a traitor, a black general who'd betrayed his oath. Hensley sent them to the FBI, a concerned citizen tip, and by midnight the leak hit the dark web, then X, then cable news. Isaiah, asleep on Janine's couch, woke to pounding on the door, the clock reading 3 in the morning. He stumbled up, the air cool at 66 degrees, his heart racing. "FBI," a voice barked. "Open up." Isaiah's stomach dropped, the bomb threat's echo ringing. He opened the door, hands raised, and 6 agents stormed in, rifles drawn, their vests bulky. "General Caldwell, you're under arrest," the lead agent said, a white man with a crew cut. "Treason." Isaiah's breath caught, his mind reeling. Treason. "I served 30 years, he said, voice steady despite the fear clawing his gut. The agent tossed him cuffs, the metal cold. "Save it for the judge." Lena ran in, her robe loose, her eyes wide. "Dad, what's happening?" Malik peeked from the stairs, his whimper cutting Isaiah like glass. "Stay with him," Isaiah told Lena, his voice firm. "I'll fix this." The agents marched him out, Janine's porch lit by squad cars, their lights stabbing the night. News vans already there filmed his walk. The headline brutal. "General Caldwell, traitor." X erupted, slurs burying his name. Sellout, spy, scum. The ex-Marines, caught off guard, radioed Maria, but Isaiah was already in a van, the door slamming, Atlanta's streets a blur. At the FBI field office, a concrete box 5 miles away, Isaiah sat in a stark room, the table rough, the air stale at 62 degrees. His phone, confiscated, left him blind. The agent, the same crew-cut man, slid a file across. Emails, transfers, all saying you sold secrets in 91. "Explain." Isaiah's eyes scanned the pages, his pulse roaring. "They're fake," he said, his voice a growl. "Check the metadata. Someone's playing you." The agent smirked, unconvinced, and left, the door locking with a thud. Isaiah leaned back, the chair creaking, his mind churning. Hensley's fingerprints were everywhere. Lena's frame-up, now this. The doctored files weren't just a smear, they were a death sentence, aimed at his honor, his service, his soul. He thought of Lena, holding Malik, their tears a weight he carried. The courthouse cheers, Lena's release, the crowd's love. It was all a cruel mirage. Hensley had struck deeper, weaponizing Isaiah's past to erase him. The room's buzz grew louder, the lights harsh. Isaiah closed his eyes, his military calm fraying. He'd beaten the drug bust, but treason was a different beast, a noose no black man could slip. His medals, his photos, his life, seized in a DC raid he couldn't stop. Hensley's war was relentless, and this was his cruelest blow yet. Isaiah Caldwell sat in a high-security detention center, the cell's concrete walls cold and grey, the air stale at 60 degrees Fahrenheit. His tailored suit was gone, replaced by an orange jumpsuit that chafed his 62-year-old frame. The treason charge, a vicious lie spun by TSA Director Victor Hensley, had landed him here cuffed and isolated, his 30-year military legacy branded a sham. Doctored Pentagon files, claiming he sold secrets in Desert Storm, had sparked an FBI raid, seizing his medals and photos from his D.C. home. Lena's release from her drug frame-up, the crowd's cheers in Atlanta, felt like a distant dream. Now in this 8x10 box, Isaiah's baritone was silent, his pulse a steady thud. The cell's fluorescent buzz was his only company, the steel cot creaking under his 6-foot frame. He'd faced death in Vietnam, betrayal in boardrooms, but this was different. Hensley's attack wasn't just personal, it was a public execution of his name. The interrogation room, where agents grilled him daily, smelled of sweat and metal. Sergeant Torres, a white man with a crew cut, leaned across the table, his voice sharp. Emails show you wired cash to a Syrian contact in 91, Caldwell. Confess, and we'll cut a deal. Isaiah's eyes narrowed, his hands cuffed but steady. Those files are fake, he said, his voice a low growl. Check the metadata. I served my country, not sold it. Torres smirked, tossing the file aside, its pages curling. We'll see what the judge says. Isaiah leaned back, the chair cold, his mind churning. Hensley's fingerprints were on this: Lena's arrest, the bomb threat, now treason. Each blow was crueler, leveraging bigger systems, media, FBI, now national security. Lena and Malik, safe in Atlanta, were all that kept him grounded. He pictured Malik's gap-toothed grin, Lena's fierce hug, and steeled himself. He'd beat this for them. Outside, Evelyn Marks, his lawyer, was a whirlwind. Her navy blazer crisp, her braids tight. She worked from a D.C. office 10 miles from the detention center, her desk buried in files. Isaiah's Pentagon allies, led by Colonel Maria Estes, had looped her into classified channels, hunting the doctored files source. Evelyn found it on day 3. Metadata in the fake emails showed a TSA server stamp, buried under layers of encryption but sloppy. Hensley's team had rushed, leaving a digital breadcrumb. Evelyn called Maria, her voice urgent. It's Hensley, no doubt. Server logs match his office. Maria's reply was grim. He's untouchable unless we get this to a judge. Evelyn nodded, already drafting a motion. She'd free Isaiah and burn Hensley's lies. The hearing, set for day 5, was in a D.C. federal courthouse, a marble fortress 2 miles from the capital. Isaiah, shackled, entered the packed courtroom, reporters cramming the benches, their cameras glinting. Evelyn stood beside him, her eyes fierce, as the judge, a white man with a hawkish nose, called order. The prosecution, a smug woman in a grey suit, waved the doctored files. Caldwell's a traitor, Your Honor. The evidence is ironclad. Evelyn stepped forward, her voice a blade. This is a fraud. The file's metadata traces to a TSA server, accessed by Director Victor Hensley. She clicked a projector showing timestamps, IP logs, server IDs. The courtroom gasped, reporters typing furiously. Isaiah's heart pounded, his cuffs biting. As the prosecution faltered, her folder slipping. The judge's eyes narrowed, scanning the screen. This is troubling, he said, voice low. Ms. Marks, proceed. Evelyn tore into the file's flaws, forged signatures, mismatched dates, amateur encryption. The prosecution scrambled, citing national security, but the judge cut them off. Charges dismissed, he said, gavel slamming. Mr. Caldwell, you're free. Egregious misconduct won't stand. Isaiah exhaled, his shoulders loosening as Evelyn gripped his arm, her smile tight. We did it, she whispered. The courtroom erupted, cheers drowning the prosecution's protests. Outside, supporters flooded D.C. streets, signs waving. Isaiah cleared. TSA corrupt. Cameras flashed, a black student shouting, You're a legend, General. Isaiah's baritone was steady, his suit back on, pressed. I'm just a man who wants truth, he said. News vans lined the street, anchors calling it a federal fiasco. Online, hashtags flipped, Hero Caldwell, Fire Hensley. Isaiah's phone returned, buzzed with texts from Lena. Dad, you're free. Malik says hi. Maria texted. Hensley's scrambling. We're close. Isaiah smiled, the D.C. air crisp at 65 degrees. He felt vindicated, his name restored, the treason lie crushed. He called, "Lena," her voice bright, "come home, Dad, we need you." He booked a flight to Atlanta, 6 hours out, his heart lighter. Hensley's blows, doxing, drugs, now this had failed. Isaiah was standing, his family waiting. But Hensley in Dallas was unbowed, his wiry frame hunched over a burner phone, his pale eyes glinting as he watched Isaiah's courthouse exit on TV. His fingers tapped, rage simmering. "Caldwell's free?" he hissed to his aide, a gaunt man with a nervous tic. "Let's burn his world." Hensley's next move was pure venom. He funneled $10,000 to a white supremacist group, the Sons of Liberty, a militia with a rap sheet of hate crimes. Their target, Isaiah's Atlanta church, a red brick sanctuary 5 miles from Lena's home, where he was set to speak at a community vigil. The Sons, masked and armed, planned a firebombing, their Molotov cocktails ready, their orders clear. Make Caldwell pay. The vigil that evening was packed, 200 souls filling the pews, their hymns rising. Isaiah stood at the pulpit, his suit crisp, his baritone warm, preaching unity against hate. Lena and Malik sat in the front row, her hand on his toy car clutched tight. The air was warm, 70 degrees, the stained glass windows glowing. Isaiah's words soared, his 30 years of service a shield. "We've faced lies," he said, "but we rise." The crowd clapped, their hope a tide. Then glass shattered, a Molotov cocktail crashing through a window, flames licking the pews. Screams erupted, smoke choking the air. Isaiah leapt down, his heart racing, ushering elders out, their coughs ragged. Lena grabbed Malik, her eyes wide as fire spread, the heat searing. The Sons outside sprayed a swastika on the church doors, their laughter sharp. Isaiah pushed through the crowd, his suit singed, his lungs burning, guiding a grandmother to safety, her cane clacking. Fire trucks wailed, 3 miles out, their sirens faint. The church burned, its wooden beams cracking, the hymnals ash. Isaiah stood outside, Malik clinging to him, Lena coughing beside him. The swastika glared, red paint dripping like blood. Police arrived, their radios crackling, but their eyes slid past the symbol, their questions vague. "Any enemies, Caldwell?" one asked, a white man with a bored stare. Isaiah's fists clenched, his voice a growl. "You know who." The crowd, safe but shaken, watched the flames, their vigil ruined. News vans swarmed, cameras rolling, the headline brutal, Caldwell's church torched. X exploded, slurs mixing with support, burned for fighting, hero under fire. Isaiah's phone buzzed, a text from Evelyn. "This is Hensley, we're tracing the funds." He nodded, his eyes burning, not from smoke, but rage. The treason charge, cleared. Hours ago was a hollow win. Hensley had struck deeper, targeting his faith, his community with a hate group's fire. The church's ruins smoldered, the air thick at 68 degrees, the crowd's murmurs a dirge. Isaiah held Malik, his small frame trembling, Lena's hand on his arm. He'd freed himself, but at what cost? The swastika wasn't just a symbol, it was Hensley's promise. More pain, more loss. Isaiah's military calm held, but cracks showed his pulse a war drum. He'd faced federal lies, but this was terrorism, rooted in the same racism that started with a slap. Hensley's war was escalating, and the church was just the start. Isaiah Caldwell stood amidst the smouldering ruins of his Atlanta church, the air thick with ash and grief, the red brick sanctuary reduced to charred beams and shattered glass, the swastika, spray-painted on the doors by a white supremacist group, funded by TSA Director Victor Hensley, dripped like a fresh wound, its red paint stark against the blackened wood. At 62, Isaiah's tailored suit was singed, his lungs raw from smoke, but his baritone held steady as he comforted the crowd, their faces etched with shock. Lena clutched Malik, her nurse's hands trembling, his 8-year-old eyes wide with fear, his toy car forgotten on the ground. The firebombing, a racist assault to punish Isaiah's fight, had turned a vigil into chaos, elders coughing, hymns silenced. Police milled nearby, their radios crackling, their questions lazy. Fire trucks hosed the wreckage, their water hissing, the air warm at 72 degrees Fahrenheit. News vans circled, cameras rolling, the headline screaming, Caldwell's church torched. Isaiah's phone buzzed with a text from Evelyn Marks, his lawyer. "This is Hensley. We're tracing the funds." He nodded, his jaw tight, rage simmering beneath his military calm. The treason charge cleared yesterday was a fleeting win. Hensley's war, slap, doxing, drugs, now this, kept escalating, each blow uglier, rooted in the same bigotry that started it all. Lena touched his arm, her voice soft. "Dad, we can't stay here." Isaiah met her eyes, his 6-foot frame a shield. "You're right, let's go." They drove to Janine's house, 10 miles away, Malik asleep, in Lena's lap, the ex-Marine security team trailing in their black van. Janine's kitchen glowed, coffee brewing, the air cool at 68 degrees. Isaiah sat, his hands gripping a mug, its ceramic warm. "We rebuild," he said, his voice a vow. Lena nodded, Malik stirring beside her. The community agreed. By morning, Isaiah launched a fundraiser, his baritone booming in a video posted online. "This church stood for hope," he said, standing before the ruins, his suit crisp despite the ash. "Hate burned it down, but we'll rise stronger." Donations poured in, $5,000, then 20, then 50, small gifts from strangers, big checks from black-owned businesses. X lit up, hashtags trending, rebuild the church, stand with Caldwell. A local pastor offered his chapel for services, a mile away, its pews already filling. Isaiah organized volunteers, their hands clearing. Debris, their laughter defiant. A black contractor, his beard grey, pledged free labor, his crew hauling charred wood. The fundraiser hit $100,000 in 2 days, the church's blueprint redrawn, bigger, bolder, with bulletproof glass. Isaiah's heart lifted, his shoulders easing. He spoke at the pastor's chapel, 300 souls packing the room, their applause a tide. "Hensley's hate failed," he said, his voice ringing. "We're unbreakable." The crowd roared, fists raised, a black teen recording it live, the clip going viral with 2 million views. News outlets ran it, anchors praising the community's grit. Then Isaiah dropped a bomb. Standing at the pulpit, his eyes fierce, he exposed Hensley's ties to the Sons of Liberty, the supremacist group behind the fire. "I've got bank records," he said, holding up a printout from Evelyn. $10,000 wired to terrorists by Victor Hensley, TSA director. The room gasped, phones buzzing, the clip spreading like wildfire. X exploded. "Fire Hensley, TSA terror." The TSA cornered, suspended Hensley that night, pending investigation. Their press release cagey. News vans swarmed TSA headquarters in Dallas, reporters shouting questions. Isaiah shook hands with allies, a black councilwoman vowing city funds for the church. Lena smiled, Malik coloring nearby, his crayon scratching paper. Isaiah felt hope, real hope, the first time in weeks. The church was rising, Hensley was sinking, the community's love a fortress. He texted Colonel Maria Estes, his Pentagon ally, "Hensley's down, keep digging." Her reply was quick, "We're on his accounts, he's not done." Isaiah nodded, the chapel's air warm at 70 degrees, the crowd's energy electric. He hugged. Lena, her nurse's strength back, and ruffled Malik's hair, his grin alight. We're winning, he thought, his suit's fabric smooth under his fingers. The bomb threat, the treason lie, the fire, they'd survived it all. Hensley's suspension was proof. Truth could win. He drove to Janine's, the Atlanta night soft, the stars bright, his phone buzzing with donations, now at 150,000. He slept on her couch, the cushions soft, dreaming of the church's new steeple, not flames. But in Dallas, Victor Hensley wasn't broken. His wiry frame paced a hotel room, his TSA badge revoked, his pale eyes burning as he watched. Isaiah's viral speech on a laptop, the crowd's cheers a taunt. His fingers gripped a burner phone, knuckles white. "They think I'm finished," he snarled to his aide, a gaunt man with a nervous blink. Caldwell's about to learn. Hensley's next strike was a digital guillotine. He hired a hacker, a shadow, named Ghost, to breach Liberty International Airport's security system, the same Dallas hub where Isaiah's fight began. Ghost, for $20,000, planted a cyber attack, malware that grounded flights, froze check-ins, and crashed baggage systems. The code left a trail. Isaiah's Pentagon login, stolen from old records, framed as the culprit. By dawn, the attack hit. 500 flights stalled, passengers stranded, the airport a zoo. Homeland Security, spooked by Isaiah's treason, smear pounced. A bulletin flashed: Isaiah Caldwell, domestic terrorist, cyber attack suspect. His face, stern in his general's uniform, hit every TV, every phone, every X-post. Slurs flooded: hacker, traitor, scum. Airports locked down, TSA agents eyeing black travelers with extra venom. Isaiah, at Janine's, woke to his phone buzzing, the screen a blur of alerts. Lena ran in, her robe loose, her eyes wide. "Dad, turn on the news." The TV showed Liberty Airport, crowds shouting, a reporter's voice grim. General Caldwell linked to a cyber attack grounding flights nationwide. Isaiah's stomach dropped, his pulse roaring. He called Evelyn, his voice a growl. "It's Hensley. He's framing me again." Evelyn's reply was sharp. "I'm on it. Get somewhere safe." Isaiah grabbed his jacket, the fabric rough, and ushered Lena and Malik to the ex-Marine's van, parked outside. The team's leader, a black man with a scar, nodded. "We've got a motel 20 miles out. Let's move." Isaiah's heart raced. The Atlanta morning hot at 75 degrees, the city's hum a threat. The motel, a low brick building off. A quiet highway was sparse, its air cool at 66 degrees. Isaiah sat on a creaky bed, Malik coloring nearby, Lena pacing. The TV droned, pundits calling him a menace. A black general gone rogue. His phone buzzed with hate mail. "Die, hacker. You're done." One text from Maria was a lifeline. "We're tracing the malware. Hang tight." Isaiah's jaw clenched, his eyes burning. The church fundraiser, the viral speech, Hensley's suspension. It was all a cruel setup. Hensley hadn't just burned his church, he'd burned his name, his freedom, his future. The motel's walls closed in, the carpet thin, the air stale. Isaiah stood, his suit rumpled, his military calm fraying. He'd rallied a community, exposed a bigot. But this was bigger, a national manhunt, rooted in the same racism that started with a slap. Lena touched his arm, her voice soft. "We'll fight this, Dad." Isaiah nodded, his heart heavy, Malik's crayon scratching a faint hope. The ex-Marines stood guard, their radios low, but Isaiah knew. Hensley's war was unrelenting, and this cyber attack was his deadliest blow yet. Isaiah Caldwell crouched in a dingy motel room 20 miles outside Atlanta, the air stale at 66 degrees Fahrenheit, the carpet threadbare under his polished shoes. His tailored suit was gone, swapped for a grey hoodie and jeans, a disguise, to dodge the nationwide manhunt, branding him a domestic terrorist. Victor Hensley, the TSA director, had framed him for a cyber attack that grounded 500 flights at Liberty International Airport. His stolen Pentagon login, the perfect bait. Isaiah's face, stern in his general's uniform, flashed on. Every TV, every phone, X-post screaming, "Hacker, traitor, scum." At 62, his 30-year military legacy was ash, his baritone silent as he watched the motel's flickering TV. The news anchor's voice cold. "Caldwell remains at large, a threat to national security." Lena paced nearby, her nurse's scrubs, wrinkled, her eyes red from worry. Malik, 8, sat on the bed coloring a spaceship, his crayon scratching faintly, unaware of the danger. The ex-Marine security team stationed outside kept their radios low, their black van a shadow in the lot. Isaiah's phone, a burner from Colonel Maria Estes, buzzed with a text, "Malware trace in progress. Stay hidden." His jaw clenched, rage simmering beneath his military calm. The church fundraiser, Hensley's suspension, the community's cheers, it was all a cruel mirage. Hensley's war, sparked by a racist slap in Dallas, had escalated to this, a fugitive's life, his family hunted. Isaiah stood, his 6 foot, frame tense, the motel's walls closing in. He needed to clear his name, not just for himself, but for Lena, Malik, everyone caught in Hensley's crosshairs. He texted Jamal, a hacker ally Maria had vetted, a young black coder with a knack for cracking systems. "Jamal, I need you to trace the cyber attack," Isaiah wrote. "It's Hensley." Jamal's reply was quick. "On it. Got a lead on an offshore server." "Give me 2 hours." Isaiah nodded, his pulse steadying, the burner's glow a faint hope. He sat beside Malik, ruffling his hair, the boy's grin a lifeline. "Grandpa, you like my ship?" Malik asked, holding up the drawing. Isaiah forced a smile, his heart twisting. "It's the best, kid." Lena caught his eye, her voice low. "Dad, how long can we hide?" Isaiah's hand tightened on the bed's thin blanket. "Not long. We'll hit back." The motel's air was cool, the hum of a distant highway its only sound. Isaiah's mind churned, replaying the fight. The bomb threat, Lena's arrest, the church fire. Each blow was Hensley's, rooted in the same bigotry that sneered at a black general in a suit. Jamal's skills were his ace, but time was short. The TV droned, a pundit saying, "Caldwell's attack crippled air travel, he's dangerous." Isaiah muted it, his eyes burning. Dangerous? He'd served, bled, built a life, now erased by a lie. 2 hours later, Jamal called the burner, his voice urgent. "Found it, General. The malware's from a server in Belize tied to Hensley's shell company. I'm leaking it to CNN now." Isaiah's heart leapt, his fingers gripping the phone. "Do it," he said. "Make it loud." By midnight, CNN broke the story, a chyron blazing, cyber attack linked to TSA director, not Caldwell. Jamal's leak, server logs, payment trails, showed Hensley's $20,000 wire to Ghost, the hacker who'd planted the malware. The report spread, X-flipping. Clear Caldwell, Hensley guilty. News vans swarmed TSA headquarters, reporters shouting. Homeland Security lifted the manhunt, their bulletin retracted, Isaiah's face fading from alerts. He stepped outside the motel, the Georgia night warm at 70 degrees, the stars sharp. The ex-Marines nodded. Their leader, a black man with a scar, saying, "You're clear, sir, let's get you home." Isaiah drove back to Janine's house 10 miles away, Lena and Malik in the van, the city's lights a fragile promise. Crowds gathered outside Janine's, neighbors waving signs, "Hero Caldwell." "Justice now." A black teen ran up, fist raised. "You beat them, General." Isaiah's baritone was warm, his smile real. "We're not done yet." Lena hugged him, Malik clinging to his leg, his crayon smudged. The news played inside, anchors praising Isaiah's. Resilience, Hensley's fall. X-post surged, 2 million likes on a clip of Isaiah's church speech. He felt free, his name restored, the cyber attack lie crushed. He texted Maria. "Jamal nailed it. What's next?" Her reply was quick. "Hensley's cornered, but he's slippery, stay sharp." Isaiah nodded, Janine's kitchen glowing, coffee brewing, the air soft at 68 degrees. He sat with Lena, her mug steaming, Malik asleep upstairs. "We're back," he said, his shoulders easing. Lena smiled, her eyes bright. "For now, Dad." Isaiah leaned back, the couch creaky, the victory sweet. The manhunt was over, Hensley exposed, the community's love a shield. He slept, dreaming of Malik's laugh, not sirens. But in Dallas, Victor Hensley, unhinged, plotted. From a safe house. His TSA badge gone, his wiry frame shaking with rage. His pale eyes glared at a laptop, CNN's report a mockery. "Caldwell's free," he hissed to his aide, a gaunt man with a nervous blink. Not for long. Hensley's next move was a dagger to Isaiah's soul. He hired a mercenary, a cold-eyed white man named Vance, to kidnap Malik. For $10,000, Vance and 2 goons snatched the boy from Janine's backyard where he'd been playing with a soccer ball. They sped off in a black SUV, Malik's screams muffled, his toy car left in the grass. Hensley sent Isaiah a video via burner phone, the footage grainy but brutal. Malik tied to a chair in a dark room, sobbing, his small frame trembling. A note flashed. "Retract all accusations, or he dies." Isaiah, at Janine's, was eating breakfast, the kitchen warm, Lena pouring juice. His burner buzzed, the video loading, Malik's cries piercing his chest. He froze, his coffee mug slipping, shattering on the floor, ceramic shards scattering. Lena ran in, her eyes wide. "Dad, what's wrong?" Isaiah's voice broke. His phone. Trembling. They took Malik. Lena gasped, her hand covering her mouth, tears spilling. Janine rushed out, shouting for the ex-Marines, their boots thudding. Isaiah played the video again. Malik's sobs a knife, the notes threat clear. His knees buckled, his 6-foot frame sinking to a chair, rage and fear colliding like a storm. He'd cleared his name, ended the manhunt, rallied a community, only to lose his grandson, the boy who called him Grandpa, who drew spaceships, who trusted him. The kitchen's air was hot, 72 degrees, but Isaiah shivered, his military calm shattered. He called Evelyn, his voice a growl. "Hensley's got—" "Malik, find him." Evelyn's reply was sharp. "I'm on it. I'll loop in Maria. Where are you?" "Janine's," he said, hanging up. The ex-Marines stormed in, their leader scanning the video. "We'll track the SUV," he said. "Got plates?" Isaiah nodded, his eyes burning, Malik's face all he saw. He texted Jamal, "Hack Hensley's burner, now." Jamal replied, "Already digging. Give me an hour." Lena sobbed, her nurse's strength gone, her hands clutching Isaiah's arm. "We'll get him back, Dad, right?" Isaiah pulled her close, his heart breaking. "I swear it," he said, his voice a vow. The ex-Marines fanned out, their radios crackling, Janine's neighbors gathering, their prayers soft. News vans arrived, tipped off by a leak, cameras rolling, the headline cruel. Caldwell's grandson kidnapped. Ex erupted, slurs mixing with support. Save Malik, Hensley monster. Isaiah stood on Janine's porch, the Georgia sun harsh, his hoodie damp with sweat. The cyber attack lie, exposed hours ago, was nothing compared to this. Hensley hadn't just framed him, he'd stolen his blood, his future. The video looped in Isaiah's mind, Malik's tears afire, the note a death sentence. He paced, the grass worn under his feet, his military mind plotting. He'd beaten Hensley's lies, but this was different. A child's life, a racist's. Ultimate blow. The ex-Marines van idled, their leader shouting, "Got a lead! Rural Georgia, 30 miles out." Isaiah's pulse roared, his hands trembling. He grabbed his jacket, the fabric rough, and climbed in, Lena beside him, her eyes fierce. "We're getting my son," she said. Isaiah nodded, the van speeding off, Atlanta's suburbs a blur, the air thick with dread. Hensley's war was unrelenting, and Malik's kidnapping was his cruelest strike yet. Isaiah Caldwell gripped the armrest of the ex-Marine's van, the engine roaring as it tore through rural Georgia. 30 miles from Atlanta, the night thick at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. His grey hoodie clung to his 62-year-old frame, sweat beading on his brow. His baritone silent but his pulse a war drum. Malik, his 8-year-old grandson, was kidnapped by mercenaries hired by Victor Hensley, the disgraced TSA director, a racist blow to punish Isaiah's fight. The burner phone in his hand still burned with the video. Malik tied to a chair, sobbing, his small voice begging for Grandpa. Lena sat beside him, her nurse's hands clenched, her eyes fierce despite tears. The ex-Marine's leader, a black man with a scar, drove, his voice sharp. SUVs at a warehouse 10 minutes out. Isaiah nodded, his jaw tight, rage and fear twisting like barbed wire. The manhunt branding him a cyber-terrorist had ended hours ago, his name cleared by Jamal's hack. But this was worse. Hensley's cruelest strike, stealing his blood. Isaiah's military mind churned, plotting the rescue. He'd used Pentagon, tracking tech, a favor from Colonel Maria Estes to ping the mercenaries' SUV, its GPS blinking on a tablet the Marines monitored. Maria's team, covert and lethal, was minutes behind, their chopper's blades a faint hum. Isaiah texted Evelyn Marks, his lawyer. Malik's location locked, rescue in progress. Her reply was instant. "Be careful. I'm prepping a case against Hensley." Isaiah's heart pounded, Malik's face all he saw, gap-toothed grin, toy car clutched tight. The van slowed, the warehouse looming, a rusted hulk in a field, its windows dark. The Marine leader cut the lights, whispering, 3 hostiles armed. Malik's inside. Isaiah's breath caught, his hand steadying Lena's tremble. "We get him." "Hout," he said, his voice a vow. The Marines fanned out, their black vests blending with the night, rifles raised. Isaiah followed, his hoodie's hood up, Maria's team landing silently, their boots soft on dirt. The warehouse door creaked, a mercenary, a white man with a buzz cut, patrolling inside, his pistol glinting. A Marine struck, silent, dropping him with a chokehold, his body slumping. Isaiah's pulse roared, the air cool at 68 degrees. The warehouses stink of oil and rust choking. They moved deeper, shadows dancing until a cry, Malik's, pierced the dark. Isaiah froze, Lena gasping, as they reached a back room. Malik sat tied to a chair, his small frame shaking. 2 mercenaries looming, their faces masked. Maria's team struck, flashbangs popping, the room a blur of shouts and smoke. Isaiah dove for Malik, cutting his ropes with a Marine's knife, the blade cold. "Grandpa," Malik sobbed, clinging to him, his warmth a lifeline. Lena ran in, her arms wrapping them both, tears streaming. The mercenaries, cuffed by Marines, cursed, their masks torn off. White men, eyes hard with hate. Maria's voice crackled. "Hostiles down, kids safe." Isaiah carried Malik out, the boy's heartbeat against his chest, Lena's hand on his back. The warehouse faded. Police sirens wailing 5 miles off, tipped by Maria. The van sped back. To Atlanta, Malik asleep in Lena's lap. His toy car recovered, smudged with dirt. At Janine's house, 10 miles away, dawn broke, the sky pink, the air warm at 72 degrees. News vans swarmed, cameras rolling, the headline blazing, "Caldwell rescues grandson." Reporters shouted, a black anchor saying, "General's a hero." Again, X lit up. 3 million likes on a clip of Isaiah carrying Malik. Hashtags trending. "Save Malik, legend Caldwell." Lena hugged him, her nurse's strength back, her voice soft. "You did it, Dad." Isaiah's baritone was thick, his arms around her and Malik, now coloring inside, safe. The kitchen glowed, coffee brewing, Janine's smile warm. He texted Maria, "Malik's free, thank you." Her reply was quick, "Hensley's goons are talking, we're closing in." Isaiah exhaled, his shoulders easing, the rescue a victory, Hensley's mercenaries locked up. He felt unbreakable, his family whole, the communities, love a fortress. News played, pundits praising his courage, a black veteran beating the odds. He sat on Janine's couch, the cushions soft, Malik's laughter upstairs a balm. The kidnapping, the manhunt, the church fire, they'd survived it all. Hensley's war was crumbling, his hired guns gone. Isaiah sipped coffee, its bitterness sharp, and dared to believe the worst was over. But in Dallas, Victor Hensley, holed up in a safe house, his TSA empire fractured, wasn't done. His wiry frame shook, his pale eyes glaring at a TV showing Isaiah's rescue. The crowd's cheers a knife. His fingers crushed a burner phone, knuckles white. "Caldwell's a hero," he snarled to his aide, a gaunt man with a nervous tick. "Let's bury his past." Hensley's next strike was a venomous lie aimed at Isaiah's core. He leaked classified mission logs from Isaiah's Vietnam era, doctored to accuse him of war crimes. Civilian deaths, unauthorized strikes, all pinned on a young black lieutenant. The files, forged but convincing, hit a Pentagon whistleblower. Site, then X, then cable news, seeded by Hensley's last allies. By noon the story broke, Caldwell's war crimes exposed. Veterans, once his brothers, turned, their posts brutal, murderer, fraud, scum. Isaiah, at Janine's, was eating lunch, Philic coloring nearby when his phone buzzed, the screen a blur of alerts. Lena ran in, her eyes wide. "Dad, the news." The TV showed his old service photo, a reporter's voice, grim. General Caldwell linked to Vietnam atrocities. Isaiah's stomach dropped, his fork clattering, his pulse roaring. He called Evelyn, his voice a growl. "It's Hensley. War crimes? That's a lie." Evelyn's reply was sharp. "I'm digging. Get to DC, we'll fight this." Isaiah's heart sank, Malik's crayon scratching a faint hope. Then a crash, glass shattering, flames licking the living room. A Molotov cocktail hurled through Janine's. Her window roared, its heat searing. Isaiah grabbed Malik, shielding him, his small frame trembling, as Lena screamed, grabbing a fire extinguisher. The ex-Marines stormed in, their boots thudding, spraying foam, the blaze dying but smoke choking the air. Janine's curtains were ash, the carpet scorched, the air hot at 80 degrees. Outside, a pickup sped off, its Confederate flag sticker glinting, a veteran's cap tossed in the grass. News vans already there filmed the chaos, the headline cruel: Caldwell's home attacked amid war crimes claim. X erupted, slurs drowning support. Killer Caldwell, burn him. Isaiah's phone buzzed with hate mail. Traitor, you'll pay. One text. From Maria was a lifeline. Files are fake, we're tracing, stay safe. Isaiah's jaw clenched, his eyes burning, not from smoke but rage. The rescue, Malik's safety, the community's love, it was all a setup. Hensley hadn't just framed him. He'd desecrated his service, turned his brothers against him, lit his home ablaze. The living room's air was thick, the extinguisher's foam pooling, Janine's sobs soft. Isaiah held Malik, his heartbeat fast, Lena's hand on his arm. He'd saved his grandson only to lose his honor, his safety. The ex-Marines swept the house, their radios crackling, but Isaiah knew the pickup wasn't random. Veterans swayed. By Hensley's lie had struck, their betrayal a blade. He called Janine's neighbor, a black pastor who offered his basement 2 miles away. The van sped off, Malik clinging to Lena, Isaiah's hoodie damp with sweat. The pastor's home was quiet, its air cool at 66 degrees, a cot ready. Isaiah sat, his hands trembling, the TV muted but showing his face, now a war criminal's. Lena touched his shoulder, her voice fierce. We'll prove it's fake, Dad. Isaiah nodded, his heart heavy, Malik's drawing, a spaceship, on the table. The war crime smear, the arson, Hensley's hate, it was rooted in the same racism that started with a slap. Isaiah's military calm held, but cracks showed, his pulse a storm. He'd beaten the kidnapping, but this was different. A Isa legacy destroyed, a home burned, a fight unending. Isaiah Caldwell sat on a cot in a pastor's basement, 2 miles from Janine's scorched home in Atlanta, the air cool at 66 degrees Fahrenheit, the concrete walls muffling the world's roar. His grey hoodie, a far cry from his tailored suit, hung loose on his 62-year-old frame, his baritone silent as he stared at a muted TV, his face branded a war criminal. Victor Hensley's doctored Vietnam logs, leaked to paint Isaiah as a civilian killer, had turned veterans against him, their pickets outside Janine's now ash after a Molotov cocktail burned her living room. Malik, 8, slept nearby, his spaceship drawing smudged on a table, Lena's nurse's hands folding his blanket, her eyes heavy with fear. The ex-Marines guarded the pastor's door, their radios low, but Isaiah's pulse thudded, rage and betrayal twisting like a noose. Hensley's war, slap, doxing, kidnapping, now this, had stolen his grandson's safety, his home, his honor. His phone buzzed with a text from Evelyn Marks, his lawyer. Found Hensley's burner. It's linked to the arson. Senate hearing. Tomorrow. Isaiah's jaw clenched, his fingers gripping the cot's thin mattress. Malik's rescue hours ago was a hollow win. Hensley's lies, rooted in racism, kept striking, each blow uglier. He needed to fight back, not just for himself, but for Lena, Malik, every black soul targeted by hate. Evelyn's lead was gold, a burner phone tying Hensley to the veteran who'd torched Janine's, a thread to unravel his empire. Isaiah texted Colonel Maria Estes, his Pentagon ally, Senate's our shot, dig deeper. Her reply was quick, on it, Hensley's funds are dirty. Stay safe. Isaiah stood, his 6-foot frame tense, the basement's dim bulb flickering. The TV, though muted, showed veterans protesting, signs screaming Caldwell's a fraud. His 30-year service, Vietnam, Desert Storm, countless ops, was dust, twisted by a lie. Lena touched his arm, her voice soft. Dad, you'll clear this, right? Isaiah nodded, his heart heavy. I will, he said, his voice a vow. By morning, Evelyn had worked miracles. Her D.C. office, 10 miles from the capital, buzzed as she prepped for the Senate hearing, a public stage to nail Hensley. She traced the burner to a call with the arsonist, A disgraced veteran paid $2,000 by Hensley's shell company. The evidence, called logs, bank wires, was ironclad. Isaiah flew to D.C., the ex-Marines escorting him. Lena and Malik safe with the pastor, guarded by Maria's team. The capital's marble halls loomed, the air crisp at 65 degrees, reporters swarming. The hearing room was packed, senators in suits, their faces stern, cameras glinting. Hensley sat at a table, his wiry frame stiff, his pale eyes darting, his TSA suspension public but his venom alive. Evelyn stood, her navy blazer sharp, her braids tight, her voice a blade. Director Hensley funded a hate crime, she said, clicking a projector. This burner phone, his, wired $2,000 to torch General Caldwell's home. The screen showed logs, timestamps, a veteran's confession naming Hensley. Senators gasped, their murmurs rising, reporters typing furiously. Isaiah watched. His hoodie swapped for a borrowed suit, his heart pounding. Hensley stammered, his face red. "That's fabricated," he said, voice thin. "I'm a patriot." The committee chair, a white senator with grey hair, leaned forward, his eyes narrow. "Explain the wires, Director." Hensley floundered, sweat beading as Evelyn pressed, her questions surgical. "Who paid the veteran, Mr. Hensley? Who burned a black general's home?" The room held its breath, cameras rolling. Isaiah's turn came. He stood, his baritone steady, his eyes locked on Hensley. "I served 30 years, he said. "This man's lies, drugs, treason, war crimes, targeted my family. My faith, my name. I'm no criminal, I'm a soldier." The senators nodded, a black woman among them wiping a tear. Veterans in the crowd, once his foes, shifted, their signs lowering, some clapping, their trust flickering back. The chair banged his gavel, voice booming. "Director Hensley, you're suspended indefinitely. Investigations ongoing." "General Caldwell, you have our apology." The room erupted, cheers drowning Hensley's protests, his aide slinking away. Isaiah exhaled, his shoulders loosening, as Evelyn gripped his hand, her smile fierce. "We got him," she said. Outside, supporters flooded D.C. streets, signs waving, "Truth for Caldwell" and Hensley. Cameras flashed, a black reporter shouting, "General, you've won." Isaiah's voice was warm, his suit's fabric smooth. Justice takes time, but it's coming. News vans lined the street, anchors calling it a Senate smackdown. X flipped, 3 million likes on Isaiah's testimony clip. Hashtags trending. Hero Caldwell, fire Hensley. His phone buzzed with texts from Lena. "Dad, you're amazing. Malik drew you a medal." Maria texted, "Veterans are rallying." Hensley's, "Toast." Isaiah smiled. The D.C. night soft at 62 degrees, the capital glowing. He felt vindicated, his honor restored, the war crimes lie crushed. He shook Evelyn's hand, her grip iron, and boarded a cab to a gala. A black veterans event 5 miles away, invited to celebrate his fight. The gala's ballroom sparkled, chandeliers bright, the air warm at 70 degrees, 200. Guests in tuxes and gowns. Isaiah, in a rented suit, spoke briefly, his baritone resonating. "We rise above hate," he said, glasses clinking. A black general, his stars gleaming, saluted him, veterans cheering. Isaiah sipped water, its chill grounding. His heart light. Hensley's fall, the crowd's love, Lena's text, it was enough. Then his throat tightened, his vision blurring, the glass slipping from his hand, shattering on the marble floor. Pain stabbed his chest, his legs buckling as he collapsed, gasping, the room spinning. Guests screamed, medics rushing, their hands probing. Lena's face, Malik's grin, flashed in his mind, fading to black. Medics shouted, "Toxin, rare, untraceable," as they loaded him onto a stretcher. The ballroom a blur, the air hot at 75 degrees. Isaiah's pulse slowed, his breath shallow, his military calm gone. In Dallas, Victor Hensley, facing ruin, smirked in his safe house, his burner phone glowing with live gala coverage. Isaiah's collapse streaming. His wiry frame relaxed, his pale eyes glinting as he muttered to his aide, a gaunt man with a nervous blink. "Got him," he said, his voice ice. Hensley's final strike was a poison, slipped into Isaiah's water by a rogue agent. A white man paid $5,000 to kill. The toxin, a Cold War relic, was odorless, lethal, designed to mimic a heart attack. Hensley's aide had bribed. A waiter, the glass marked Isaiah's fate sealed. The agent, long gone, left no trace. The gala's chaos his cover. Isaiah's stretcher rolled, medics pumping his chest, the hospital 10 miles away, sirens wailing. News vans trailed, cameras rolling, the headline brutal, Caldwell poisoned at gala. X erupted, slurs mixing with panic, murdered, Caldwell, save Isaiah. His phone, left behind, buzzed with hate mail. Traitor, good riddance. One text, from Maria, was a lifeline, heard about gala. Toxin suspected, we're tracing. Isaiah's world darkened, the stretcher's jolt fading, his heart fighting. The Senate win, Hensley's shame, the veterans' cheers. It was all a trap. Hensley hadn't just smeared him. He'd tried to kill him, a racist's ultimate blow. Echoing experiments on black bodies, Tuskegee's shadow. The hospital loomed, its lights harsh, the air cool at 65 degrees, medics shouting vitals. Isaiah's mind clung to Malik's drawing, Lena's strength, a faint pulse of hope. Evelyn in D.C. got Maria's call, her voice sharp. Poison. It's Hensley. I'm suing for attempted murder. Maria replied, we're on the agent's trail. Stay with Isaiah. The stretcher hit the ER, doctors swarming, their gloves snapping, a needle piercing Isaiah's arm. His breath hitched, his eyes fluttering, the toxin burning. The gala's warmth, the crowd's love, was ash. Hensley's war was unrelenting, and this was his deadliest strike yet. Isaiah Caldwell woke in a D.C. hospital ICU, the air sharp with antiseptic. The beeping monitors a lifeline piercing the fog in his 62-year-old body. His tailored suit was gone, replaced by a thin gown, tubes snaking from his arm, his chest aching from the poison that had dropped him at the gala 10 miles away. The toxin, a Cold War relic slipped into his water by a rogue agent hired by Victor Hensley, had nearly killed him, his pulse fading as medics fought. Now, sunlight slanted through the window, the room cool at 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and Isaiah's baritone rasped, weak but alive. Lena sat beside him, her nurse's hands clutching his, her eyes red but fierce. Malik, 8, curled in a chair, his spaceship drawing smudged, his small snores a fragile hope. Isaiah's mind churned, replaying the gala's collapse. Chandeliers, blurring, glass shattering, his breath choking. Hensley's war, slap, doxing, kidnapping, now poison, had escalated, each racist blow crueler, rooted in the bigotry that started it all. His phone on the bedside table buzzed with a text from Colonel Maria Estes, toxin confirmed. We're hunting the agent. Isaiah's jaw clenched, his fingers trembling, rage burning through the haze. The Senate hearing, Hensley's public shaming, the veterans' cheers. It was a hollow win, a setup for this near-death strike. Lena squeezed his hand, her voice soft. Dad, you're back. We thought... She trailed off, tears spilling. Isaiah's throat tightened, Malik's face flashing, gap-toothed grin, toy car tight. I'm here, he said, his voice a vow. He'd survived for them, for every black soul Hensley targeted. The hospital's hum steadied him, his military calm. Flickering, he needed to end this, not just for himself, but for his family, his community, his name. Maria entered, her buzz cut sharp, her black tactical vest swapped for a blazer, her eyes grim. General, we've got leads, she said, voice low. The poison's rare, tied to a black market dealer. Evelyn's on it too. Isaiah nodded, his pulse, steadying, the tubes pinching his skin. Evelyn Marks, his lawyer, was a bulldog, her D.C. office 12 miles away buzzing with evidence. She'd called that morning, her voice sharp. We're tracing the toxins by. Hensley's fingerprints are everywhere. Isaiah's heart lifted, a spark in the dark. If they could nail Hensley, the war was over. By noon, Jamal, the hacker ally, struck gold. Holed up in a safe house 15 miles from Atlanta, his laptop glowed as he cracked Hensley's dark web accounts, finding a purchase order for the toxin, 5. $1,000 wired to a dealer named Viper, time-stamped days before the gala. Jamal's fingers flew, his dreads swaying, his voice urgent over a secure call to Evelyn. "Got the receipt," he said. "It's Hensley's shell company, same one. That paid for Malik's kidnapping." Evelyn's reply was fierce. "Leak it to the FBI. I'm filing charges." Jamal sent the records, bank wires, chat logs, Viper's alias, to the FBI's tip line, copying CNN for maximum noise. By evening, the story broke, a chyron blazing. TSA director linked to Caldwell poisoning. The evidence, digital trails. Account numbers pinned Hensley, his safe house raided. His wiry frame cuffed on live TV, his pale eyes wild as agents dragged him out. News vans swarmed Dallas, reporters shouting, the headline viral, "Hensley arrested for attempted murder." X exploded, 4 million likes on a clip of his perp walk, hashtags trending, "Justice for Caldwell, lock Hensley up." Isaiah watched from his hospital bed, the TV's glow harsh, his chest easing. Lena smiled, her hand warm. "He's done, Dad," she said. Malik stirred, mumbling, "Grandpa okay?" Isaiah ruffled his hair, his baritone thick. "Grandpa's great, kid." Outside, crowds chanted his name, signs waving, "Hero Caldwell, end hate." News trucks lined the hospital's lot, 3 miles from the capital, anchors praising Isaiah's survival. "Hey, black general beating death." His phone buzzed with texts from Maria. "FBI's got Hensley tight, you're clear." Evelyn texted, "Charges filed, he's finished." Isaiah exhaled, his tubes tugging, the room's air soft at 67 degrees. He felt alive, his name restored, Hensley's empire dust. Malik climbed onto the bed, his small arms tight, Lena's laughter a balm. The poison, the war crimes lie, Malik's kidnapping, they'd survived it all. Isaiah's heart swelled, his military calm back, the hospital's hum a victory song. He pictured Janine's kitchen, the church's new blueprint, Lena's nurse's pride. Hensley's cuffs were proof. Truth could win. He leaned back, the pillow soft, Malik's warmth, grounding, and dared to believe the fight was over. But in a Dallas jail, Victor Hensley, his TSA badge of memory, wasn't broken. His wiry frame sat rigid in a cell, his pale eyes glinting, a smuggled burner phone hidden in his shoe. His lips curled, watching a TV replay, Isaiah's hospital vigil, crowds chanting. "They think it's over," he muttered, his voice ice. His final strike, pre-planned, was a firestorm. Months ago, he'd seeded a network of racist followers, cops, veterans, TSA grunts, primed to riot at Liberty International Airport, the Dallas hub where Isaiah's fight began. For $10,000, Hensley's aide, a gaunt man now fled, had armed them with clubs, masks, and a target, Isaiah's allies, especially Colonel Maria Estes, who'd tracked his crimes. The riot's trigger, coded in a dark web post, hit at midnight, hours after Hensley's arrest. The airport erupted. 300 rioters, white, masked, screaming slurs, smashing check-ins, beating black staff, hunting Maria. She was there, investigating Hensley's old office, 5 miles from the terminals, when the mob surged. Her team, 4 soldiers in black vests, fought back, fists flying. But the crowd was a tide, their clubs cracking ribs. Maria's radio crackled, her voice sharp. "Need backup now." A pipe bomb, tossed by a rioter, exploded near her car, its blast shattering glass, the flames licking pavement, the air hot at 75 degrees. Maria dove, her arm bloodied, her soldiers dragging her to cover, their guns drawn. Airport. Security, outmanned, fled, passengers screaming, flights grounded again. News vans swarmed, cameras rolling, the headline brutal. Liberty Airport riot targets Caldwell allies. X erupted, slurs drowning support. Chaos for Caldwell, black menace. Isaiah in the ICU saw it unfold, the TV's flash waking Malik, his small gasp cutting deep. Lena grabbed the remote, her eyes wide. "Dad, that's Maria." Isaiah's heart stopped, his tubes pinching, his pulse roaring. He called Evelyn, his voice a growl, weak but fierce. "It's Hensley. From jail. Stop this." Evelyn's reply was sharp. "I'm on it. FBI's moving. Stay there." Isaiah's hand trembled, the hospital's air thick, the monitor's beeps a taunt. Maria's face, buzz-cut, fierce eyes, flashed, her blood on the pavement a wound he felt. He texted Jamal, "Hack the riot's comms, find Hensley's orders." Jamal replied, diving in, "Give me 30 minutes." Lena held Malik, her nurse's calm fraying, his spaceship drawing crumpled. Outside the crowd grew, their chants softer, fear. Creeping in, signs drooping, "Save Maria, end hate." Isaiah's eyes burned, not from poison but rage. Hensley's arrest, his survival, the community's love, it was all a setup. Hensley hadn't just tried to kill him, he'd unleashed a mob, a racist echo of lynchings, targeting his allies, his fight. The hospital's windows showed DC's, lights mocking his pain. News played, a reporter's voice grim, "Colonel Estes injured, riot ongoing." Isaiah's mind raced, his military steel cracking. Maria had saved him, tracked Hensley, bled for him. The riot wasn't random, it was Hensley's last card, played from a cell, a bigot's vow to destroy. Isaiah gripped Lena's hand, his, voice hoarse. "We'll get her back," he said, his heart heavy. Malik sniffles, a knife. The ex-Marines stationed outside tightened their watch, their radios crackling with Maria's team's SOS. Isaiah's phone buzzed, hate mail flooding. "Di Caldwell, your friends too." One text from Maria's second was a lifeline. "She's alive, hospital-bound, riots pinned." Isaiah exhaled, his chest aching, the toxins scar a reminder. The ICU's hum grew louder, the air stale, his fight unending. Hensley's war was a hydra, and this riot was its cruelest head yet. Isaiah Caldwell sat in the DC hospital ICU, the antiseptic air sharp. The monitor's beeps a faint pulse against the chaos unfolding on the TV screen. His 62-year-old body ached, the poison scar lingering under his thin gown, but his baritone was steady, his eyes locked on footage of Liberty International Airport's riot. 300 racist rioters, Victor Hensley's followers, smashing terminals, hunting Colonel Maria Estes, his Pentagon ally. Maria was safe now, bloodied but alive, her arm bandaged in a hospital 10 miles away. The pipe bomb's blast a near miss. Lena gripped Isaiah's hand, her nurse's strength fraying, her eyes red from watching Malik eat, sleep fitfully in a chair, his spaceship drawing crumpled on the floor. The air was cool at 65 degrees Fahrenheit, the hospital's hum a fragile shield. Isaiah's phone buzzed with a text from Evelyn Marks, his lawyer. "FBI's got the rioters." Hensley's locked tight. Isaiah's jaw clenched, rage simmering beneath his military calm. The riot, triggered from Hensley's jail cell, was a racist dagger, echoing the slap, the doxing, the kidnapping, all rooted in the bigotry that targeted a black general in a tailored suit. His survival, Hensley's arrest, the crowd's chants. Outside, it was a false dawn shattered by this mob. Isaiah's heart thudded, Maria's blood a wound he felt, Malik's snores a vow to keep fighting. He needed to end this, not just for himself but for his family, his allies, every black soul caught in Hensley's hate. The TV flashed, a reporter's voice grim. "Airport chaos tied to ex-TSA director. Caldwell's allies targeted." Isaiah's mind raced. His 30-year legacy, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Pentagon halls, nearly erased by Hensley's lies. He texted Jamal, the hacker ally, "Dig into Hensley's safe house, find his endgame." Jamal's reply was quick, "Already. In checking servers now." Isaiah exhaled, his tubes tugging, the hospital's window showing DC's lights, mocking his pain. He'd beaten poison, saved Malik, exposed Hensley, but the riot proved the war wasn't over. Lena touched his arm, her voice soft. "Dad, you're still here. That's enough." Isaiah shook his head, his eyes fierce. "Not yet," he said, his voice a blade. The fight was bigger, uglier, a shadow he couldn't name. 2 days later, Isaiah, discharged but weak, moved with purpose. His tailored suit, reclaimed, fit snug, a shield as he met Jamal in DC, 5 miles from the capital, in a basement safe house, its air stale at 62 degrees. Jamal's laptop glowed, his dread swaying, his fingers flying. got something." "General," he said, voice urgent. "Hensley's safe-house server, it's a gold mine." Isaiah leaned in, his heart pounding, the screen showing files, emails, ledgers. Jamal clicked, revealing a decade-long scheme. Hensley's plan to purge black TSA agents nationwide, coded as security risks, backed by a secret supremacist network. Names flashed: cops, judges, CEOs, funding hate with millions. Their orders chilling: clean the system. Start with Caldwell. Isaiah's breath caught, his fists clenching, the suit's fabric taut. This wasn't just Hensley, it was a machine, a racist hydra built to crush black power. The files listed firings, frame-ups, deaths, agents like Isaiah targeted for their skin, their rank, their voice. Jamal's voice shook. "There's more," he said, pulling up a name. Senator Harold Vance, white 70, a DC titan with a folksy smile, named as the network's head. Isaiah's pulse roared, his mind flashing to Vance's speeches, all unity but laced with venom, his votes gutting civil rights. Vance was untouchable, a kingpin Hensley served. Isaiah's eyes burned, rage and clarity colliding. This was the fight. Hensley's war, yes, but Vance's empire, the root of every blow. He called Evelyn, his voice low. "We've got a network. Bigger than Hensley. Senator Vance runs it." Evelyn's reply was sharp. "Send the files. I'll leak to Congress." Isaiah nodded, his heart heavy. Malik's face flashing, gap-toothed grin, toy car tight. He and Jamal encrypted the data, sending it to Evelyn, Maria, and a House ally, a black congresswoman with fire in her eyes. By midnight the leak hit. CNN breaking it. Supremacist network exposed in TSA purge. The files, ledgers, emails, Vance's name, sparked chaos. Congress reeling, X exploding with 5 million likes on a clip of Isaiah's church speech. Hashtags trending, end the network, Caldwell truth. Protests erupted nationwide, thousands marching in DC, Atlanta, Dallas, signs waving. Black Lives Matter, stop Vance. News vans swarmed Capitol Hill, reporters shouting, the headline viral, Senator linked to anti-black plot. Hensley's trial, already set, gained weight, his cell TV showing the chaos, his pale eyes dull, his wiry frame slumped. Isaiah watched from the safe house, the air warm at 70 degrees, Jamal's laptop humming. Evelyn called, her voice fierce. "We did it, General. Hensley's convicted, life sentence. Vance is sweating." Isaiah's chest eased, his suit crisp, but his eyes stayed sharp. The protests, the leak, the conviction, it was a victory, but Vance was free, his power vast. The network's roots ran deep, judges and CEOs still hiding, their money clean. Isaiah's heart thudded, the hospital's beeps echoing, Maria's blood a reminder. He'd exposed Hensley, saved Malik, survived poison. But the war wasn't over. The twist hit like a bomb. Jamal, digging deeper, found a coded email buried in Vance's private server, sent post-leak, Caldwell's next. The senator, unbowed, had taken Hensley's place, his plan chilling. Frame Isaiah for a new crime, bigger, deadlier, a national threat to silence him forever. Isaiah's stomach dropped, his fingers gripping the table, its wood rough. Vance's smile, flashed on TV, was a mask, his folksy drawl a lie, his power a noose. Isaiah's fight had toppled a pawn, but the king stood, racist, ruthless, untouchable. He called Maria, his voice a growl. "Vance is the head. He's coming for me." Maria's reply was grim. "We'll protect you. Get to Atlanta. Lay low." Isaiah nodded, his suit's fabric a second skin, his military calm fraying. He hugged Jamal, his dreads damp with sweat, his grin fierce. "Keep digging, kid," Isaiah said. Jamal nodded, his laptop snapping shut. Isaiah drove to the airport, the ex-Marines trailing, their van a shadow, DC's lights fading. At Reagan, National 5 miles out, the terminal hummed, the air cool at 62 degrees, no TSA sneers this time. He boarded, his ticket scanned, Atlanta 2 hours away, Lena and Malik waiting. The plane climbed, clouds black, his reflection a ghost. The leak's roar, protests, headlines, Hensley's fall, wasn't enough. Vance's email, coded and cold, was a death sentence. a racist empire's vow to crush him. Isaiah's mind. Raced, the hospital's beeps, Maria's blood, Malik's sobs blending. He'd won battles, but the war was eternal, rooted in the bigotry that saw a black man in a suit as a threat. Back in Atlanta, at Janine's rebuilt home, 10 miles from the church, Isaiah stepped off the plane, the air warm at 72 degrees. Lena's hug fierce, Malik's arms tight. "Grandpa, you're back," Malik said, his crayon smudged, his grin alight. Isaiah knelt, his heart breaking, Vance's threat looming. He'd exposed a network, sparked a movement, but the senator's shadow was long, his allies legion. The kitchen glowed, coffee brewing, the air soft at 68 degrees. Isaiah sat, his suit crisp, his eyes blazing, sirens faint outside. A protest, a warning, a call. He pulled Malik close, teaching him to draw a star, his small hand steady. "You'll fight one day, kid," he said, his voice thick. Malik nodded, his eyes bright, Lena's smile a mirror. Isaiah stood, the window showing Atlanta's skyline, its lights defiant. Vance was coming, his plan unknown, but Isaiah was ready, his fight unending. The sirens grew louder, the night alive, his name a beacon. He'd toppled Hensley, but the war, racism's war, was bigger, older, a fire no leak could douse. His suit's fabric held him, his baritone a vow, the stars, outside a map to keep going. Isaiah Caldwell's saga, a black general targeted by a racist system, unveils truths that resonate deeply. First, resilience is power. Isaiah faced a slap, smears, and poison, yet his military-honed resolve never wavered, proving that inner strength can defy hate's weight. His fight teaches us to stand firm, even when the world turns venomous. Second, systemic racism is a hydra. Cutting one head like Victor Hensley's schemes reveals deeper roots, as seen in Senator Vance's shadow network. It's not just personal bigotry, it's a machine rigged against justice, demanding relentless exposure. Third, community is armor. From Atlanta's church to DC's streets, supporters rallied, their voices amplifying Isaiah's truth, showing collective action can shift tides. Fourth, truth is a weapon, but it's costly. Isaiah's leaks and testimonies toppled Hensley, yet each victory brought fiercer retaliation, underscoring that justice requires sacrifice. Finally, legacy endures. Isaiah mentored Malik, passing courage to the next generation, a reminder that our battles shape tomorrow's fighters. The story screams, racism's war is real, ongoing and brutal, but so is resistance. It challenges us to question power, uplift the targeted, and fight on. How would you stand against a racist system like Isaiah did? Drop your thoughts below. Hit like if his resilience inspires you. Subscribe for more stories of truth, and share to spark change. Thank you for joining this journey. Here's to building a world where justice shines. Stay strong, stay united.